Hi guys, welcome back to my run on front mission first remake. Just started the mission here.
Real quick final, Brandon, on that, as I just mentioned to David's fund, now the question over resources to be able to
Good video.
Brandon, appreciate you jumping on the phone with us on the breaking news. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be watching closely what the effect of this is. Brandon said that this could serve as a powerful deterrent against people crossing the border illegally, at least in Texas, because the way that the cartels work it now is they get people who want to stay in the country across the border, put them in the hands of the border patrol to process, and then they're released with a notice to appear. Sometimes 10 years from now, that's on the street case. So if folks now know that if they cross the border, they're going to go to jail, they might either decide not to come across the border or definitely do something.
Indeed. A big win for Governor Abbott in Texas before.
Yeah, at least for the time being. We'll be right back with more of that here.
Hey, you see this? Hey, where's the dish? There ain't one. You're telling me you can get direct TV, the good stuff, and you don't need a satellite dish. Oh, I used to love doing our business on those things. So what's it? Them dishes kept the rain off our beaks. We just have different priorities. Satellites, direct TV, everything's you did it. Our lifespans are quite short. Stream direct TV without a satellite. We're going to do this thing right, just for a bit.
Saving on your education should be a right, not a competition. At University of Phoenix, you'll get the best scholarship or savings you qualify for. Simple as that. Explore scholarship options at University of Phoenix.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy, even a term policy, for an immediate cash payment.
We thought we had planned carefully for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Don't cancel or let your policy lapse without finding out what it's worth. Visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if your policy qualifies. Or call 1-800-515-4100. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
We're building a better postal service. All parts working in sync to business forward. With a streamlined shipping network and new high-speed processing and delivery centers. For more value, more reliability, and more on-time delivery. The United States Postal Service.
Oh shit, that's right, you got chafed.
And our business is with simple, affordable, and reliable shipping. U.S. Ground Advantage.
Attention, former Marines and family members stationed at Camp Lejeune. If you live or work at Camp Lejeune, Carolina, for these 30 days from August 1953 to December 1987, and have been diagnosed with cancer, neurobehavioral effects, had a child born with illness, were diagnosed with fertility issues or more, you may qualify for significant financial compensation. Call Sally Watley now to discuss your case. It has been proven that the water at Camp Lejeune during those years was extremely contaminated with toxic toxic chemicals. A new law passed by Congress now means veterans and surviving family members to lawsuits and potentially with exposure to contaminated water and air pollution. Don't wait until it's too late. It only takes a few minutes and a call is completely free. Call Settle Rock Legal. Discuss your case now.
Call 1-800-630-3838. That's 1-800-630-3838. Call now.
I hear it all the time. People tell me they'd love to buy gold, but because it's gold, they think it must be complicated. It isn't. Not with Roslyn Capital. With Roslyn, the entire process from start to finish is built on one concept. One. Keep it simple. Roslyn Capital, a trusted leader in helping people acquire precious metals. Gold bullion, Lady Liberty gold and silver coins. And our premium coins can help you preserve your wealth. Call Roslyn Capital at 800-630-8900 to receive your free Roslyn Guide to Gold, Gold and Precious Metals IRA, and silver brochures. With Roslyn, there are no hassles, no gimmicks, and our shipping is fast and reliable. Remember, keep it simple. Make gold your big ship. Call Roslyn Capital today at 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900. That's 800-630-8900. There's and clear.
Is she letting her imagination run wild? She has allergies. Yeah.
But you can't watch or listen to the latest news, business, and news headlines on SiriusXM anytime, anywhere. Fox News on SiriusXM. American News for listening.
Let's jump back to the hearing of House Foreign Affairs. Afghanistan Minister Bryant asked a question in the general.
Days leading up to August 26th. That just as you looked at a lack of targeting Iran as giving the enemy a comfort, I would look at giving that enemy, I would look at those lack of actions as giving that enemy a comfort. In that, General, my time has expired.
Gentlemen, you'll start. Chair recognizes Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I welcome to both of our witnesses. General Billy, I just, as an American, I want to thank you for your service and for how you conducted yourself in that service. America owes you a debt. You come from my hometown of Boston, just outside Boston. I understand correctly. Your father fought in World War II for the 4th Marine Division for the Pacific. Is that correct? And your mother was a nurse who served in the U.S. Naval Reserve during that same war. Is that correct?
She worked at a hospital.
Oh, shit.
You had an uncle who served in the Korean War.
I had two uncles that were also in World War II, one in the Philippines and one was landing in Colombia. My dad was in Saipan and another uncle was in Korea.
So it'd be fair to say your family really answered a call to serve its country, including bearing arms to protect this country and to deter its adversaries and enemies. Is that correct?
That's correct. Two uncles in World War I and cousins in Vietnam.
Even going further. And then you yourself deployed in Somalia, Panama, Haiti, and multiple times as brigade commander to Iraq and Afghanistan. Is that correct?
Correct.
You're proud of that service?
44 years.
Proud.
As we're listening to our Billy service history, we want to jump back.
Fucking hell, it started from the other save.
Supreme Court decision regarding the Texas border.
Oh boy.
Just in the Supreme Court has declined to block this Texas law that will allow state law enforcement to arrest people suspected of illegally crossing the border. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is now on the phone with us to react to this news and tell us what it means for the border crisis. Welcome.
Hi, Sandra. Hi, John. Look, I'm catching my breath right now because this is the story. The Supreme Court has ruled that this law, Senate Bill 4, that I wrote with Senator Charles Terry at the end of last year, passed, Governor signed it, that would give Texas the right to arrest those who are here illegally. We can put them in jail or we can send them back. And I was on Fox just yesterday morning, kind of in a lighthearted way. I said, I know the Supreme Court is listening as they get up for court this morning, and we are being invaded by land, by sea, by air. It's drones, it's boats going into Florida, they have to take drugs, or they're going to visit the boats for years, across millions have come across the border under Joe Biden. So it sounds like to me, the court, and I haven't read the final ruling yet, but it sounds like the court has made this decision that Texas has the right to defend
Yes.
themselves against this
We might win this one.
mobilized, cartel-driven invasion of our country. This is historic today, and I'm thankful for the Supreme Court ruling. I believe the ruling was 6-3. Now, this just says it goes into effect while it works its way through the courts, but this is a big statement that we can go into action now, and this law can become effective now.
So, Lieutenant Governor, John here. A number of questions. In the overall, how is this going to work? What charges will people face for crossing the border illegally? How long can you hold them? Will they be able to bond out? And in terms of sending people back, U.S. immigration law states that we can only send back people with a contiguous border with the United States on foot. Others would have to be flown back. So who can be sent back? How does that all work?
Great questions, John. So the basic overview is when we arrest someone that we've seen crossing, or we find out they've crossed here illegally, we will arrest them. We will get all of their information. This was a key part of the bill. We didn't want to just turn people back because we wanted to know, are they on the terrorist watch list? Are they a criminal? Who are they? So we will fingerprint them, we will photograph them, we will do a background check. And at that point, because they are here illegally, in other words, what Senate bill says is it's illegal to be here illegally. At that point, they can agree to go back. Now, if they're not a criminal or on the terrorist watch list, if they don't have any of those charges against them, they can agree to spend 6 months in jail or go back to Mexico. If they go back and come back the second time, it increases to a felony and they go to jail for many years. So this is, that's how the law will work.
We appreciate you weighing in, obviously, on the move historic that just happened in joining us.
Thanks, Governor, Lieutenant Governor Sorter. We're up against a heartbreak, but thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. We'll be right back.
This is the last call for hands to run. Current generation charger for child. The last call.
Nice shooting.
Grace didn't believe it, but her daughter was having to prove it. You were meant to dream about 10 years.
The 1878 to 1921 Morgan silver dollar, a true American classic and one of the most iconic silver dollar coins in history. It has been over 100 years since the last Morgan silver dollar coin was struck for circulation, but now, for a limited time only, full pound bags of original U.S. government struck Morgan dollars are being released to the public. That's right, you can own a full pound of 1878 to 1921 classic American Morgan silver dollar coins, all in collector condition, fully visible dates and pin marks, guaranteed. Call 1-800-333-2210 now to secure collector-grade U.S. Morgan silver dollars by the pound, struck during the Wild West and the Gilded Age. Receive a American collectors, valued over $5 in every word. Call 1-800-333-2210 now to secure your full pound bag of Morgan silver dollar coins before they are gone. 1-800-333-2210. That's 1-800-333-2210.
These used cars look the same, but Carfax can show how damage history affects the value.
Your damage has always been visible.
I'm twin. Stop it. Shopping all new Carfax.com.
I do.
Why do you hate America so much?
Jesse's getting to know those who've got this in you. Features the mission of Animal after this next, tonight on Prime Time.
This is your home away from home.
Sure.
Here.
Whoa!
We gotta get up now, guys.
War has prevailed. We were told.
Why did I take your word?
Oh, hey. Hey, what was the question?
Let's test. What driving my global yesterday?
No? Can I get off? I don't. Try? Think you're a better driver when you're high? Think again. Smoking weed affects reaction time and concentration. A message from Pat Canada.
If alcohol builds a wall around you, it keeps you feeling isolated. It makes you feel hopeless. Know this. We're here. Honest to. It's never too early or too late to ask for drinking problem. Alcoholics Anonymous. There is a way out. And more information is available in depth meeting.
As the hurricane disastrous evacuation from Afghanistan continues, hundreds of Americans are stranded in Haiti, waiting for help from the U.S. And Haitians fleeing the islands could head straight to Florida. Ryan Dennis, live in the Dominican Republic at the border with Haiti. And Ryan, what are the latest on efforts to save stranded Americans?
Well, John, the State Department says it continues to explore safe options to evacuate Americans that are stranded in Haiti, the majority of which are believed to be in Port-au-Prince. It's about 1,000, they say, so far. One of those options could be flying Americans from Port-au-Prince to the Dominican capital of Santo Domingo. Those who have not been able to wait for the U.S. government, who have lost patients and are frustrated, are seeking other means, like the U.S. Republican Representative Corey Mills, who on his own, he is a combat veteran, has helped organize rescues for 23 Americans trapped in Haiti. It is a dire situation there, which is now under the control of gangs. Schools, hospitals, police stations have been attacked by gangs who have also stolen critical humanitarian aid. Yesterday, at least a dozen people were killed in attacks in wealthy neighborhoods in the capital. Haitians tell us they need help.
Every day there is always bad news. They always change the president and nothing good comes of it. I want change for the country.
What about Sophie?
Yes, I'm afraid of the gangs. We can't go outside, the kids can't go to school or eat. Life is very difficult.
To solve the gang problem, we need an international armed force because we cannot do it alone. Meantime, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has deployed forces in preparation of a possible Haitian exodus to Florida, and the Dominican Republic has built a border wall and continues to deport Haitians despite the UN's demand to stop. Every single day, Haitians are deported from the Dominican Republic back to Haiti. You can see them coming out of this truck here. They're of all ages. Despite the humanitarian crisis, the Dominican Republic says it's important to secure their border. There they are, walking in to Haiti. Every country has its own laws. It's like asking the United States to allow all undocumented immigrants to enter their country freely. We cannot allow that in our country. And you're looking live at Haitian immigrants on the Haitian side of the border here. Immigration officials tell us, John, some 359 Americans have left through this border since March 1st. John.
All right, we'll see if they can get any more out. Brian Dennis, force hard over the border there between the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Brian, thank you. Sarah?
All right, let's bring back my duty. Afghanistan veteran Ultimate Sacrifice Foundation founder Darren Hoover, father of fallen Marine Staff Sergeant Darren Taylor Hoover. Thank you very much for standing by with us as we continue to watch and monitor this hearing happening on Capitol Hill. Just want to get your thoughts, Mike, as you and I were sitting here taking this hearing together. At some points during the commercial break, Rep. Barr from Kentucky was just speaking, and you had a strong reaction to what he was saying.
Yeah, let's not tiptoe around this subject. This was not a withdrawal. This was an absolute catastrophe of mega measures. All right, as soon as we allowed the Taliban to get within city limits, that was the essential catalyst to allow them access to Abu Ghraib, something that killed 13 of our service members and wounded 18. I think we're tiptoeing around this too much. I'm watching two generals, one of which I served under for 2 years, tiptoe around several subjects. It's very hard to watch. I can't imagine for Darren Hoover what's going through his head right now. Darren, I love you, man. You're my brother. I'm going to do everything I possibly can to continue to be an advocate for the
these fall 13 and the 18 that were wounded. But I think something else is going to be brought up. Who authorized us giving $86 billion of military equipment to the Taliban? And like I said a couple years ago, I can't imagine the proxy wars that will happen in the region and the other entities and other terrorist
Say this.
that are going to form via the Taliban or U.S.-led weapons now that are in control in Taliban hands, but also who they sold them to. It's a second and third order effect that we need to look at.
All good points that you make there, Mike. And Darren, to you, Mike said he can't begin to fathom what's going through your mind right now. We've got about 45 seconds left. Can you tell us what's going through your mind?
Well, at this point, John and Mike, thanks for sticking up for us. You know, Congressman Barr questioning both of them, it goes back to what I've said all along, and I've called them out on it in the various hearings that we've had. And the State Department, DOD, doesn't know what they're doing. One has to take over where the other one drops off. And if they don't have a solid plan in place, we're going to continue to have this, and it's ridiculous.
Well, Darren, our heart breaks for you and the other Gold Star families and a grateful nation. Thanks your son and others for his sacrifice.
Honor to know both of you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for joining us. I'm Sandra Smith.
And I'm John Roberts. The story with Martha starts right now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum, and this is the story. Two major stories breaking at this hour. The Supreme Court has just allowed Texas to enforce their own state immigration law. This is a very monumental decision. And this is in place for now before it goes to the next level of appeal. So the state at this point can start arresting people suspected of crossing the border illegally while this legal battle over the law continues. It's called SB4. You've heard us talk about it a lot in recent days. So we're going to take you live to the border. We're going to get reaction from about the Supreme Court decision and what the impact is going to look like in Texas coming up momentarily. But first, what happens when two top U.S. generals in charge of our deadly exit from Afghanistan testify for the first time before Congress as free-speaking private citizens about what really happened as the Taliban swept the country and President Biden announced our unilateral pullout, timed in many ways to happen just before the anniversary of September 11th to mark the end of 20 years of fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now that exit and the way that it was carried out led to the death, the killings of 13 treasured U.S. service members and certainly treasured members of their families as well. Afghans, remember this? Apparently falling to their deaths in some cases after clinging to a U.S. military plane. And a family mistakenly targeted and killed in an attempt to stop another bombing in Kabul. We also remember watching as American soldiers and Marines came to the aid of Afghans, frantic to get out of their deteriorating situation. Today, former Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley and former CENTCOM Commander General Kenneth McKenzie testified about the evacuation.
On 14 August, the non-combatant evacuation operation decision was made by the Department of State, and the U.S. military alerted, marshaled, mobilized, and rapidly deployed faster than any military in the world could ever do. It is my assessment that that decision came too late.
If there's fault, it lies in a policy decision that placed the joint force in this situation and exposed the force over time to the possibility of these kinds of attacks. I was the overall commander, and I alone bear full military responsibility for what happened that day.
Retired Brigadier General Don Bolduc, who served 10 tours in Afghanistan, is standing by with his reaction to what he is hearing in that congressional hearing room today. First to congressional correspondent Aisha Hassan, live on Capitol Hill. Aisha.
Martha, we are hearing some headlines come out of this hearing. First and foremost, General Mark Milley is testifying that Afghanistan would not have collapsed, have fallen, had the White House, the administration, just followed the assessment of the Pentagon by keeping those U.S. troops on the ground. Second, this is a big one. After 3 years, there's still no way to know the actual number of Americans and allies that we left behind because Billy says the State Department's original numbers were unclear, they were inaccurate. And both of these generals, Billy and McKenzie, are blaming the State Department for making the call to evacuate way too late.
It's one thing to have the plan. It's the second thing to do the actual coordination of the plan.
And that was too little, too late.
It was my judgment that it was far too little, far too late.
Now, Billy says he is here for the 13 U.S. service members who died in a suicide bombing at Abbey Gate. Some of their loved ones are here as well, including Steve McHugh, who was arrested for shouting during President Biden's State of the Union address earlier this month. And he tells me, Martha, he is still facing charges for that incident and that the administration has not once reached out to him since. Congressman Michael Waltz is telling me that he is going to do everything in his power to make sure those charges get dropped. Martha?
Thank you very much. So let's bring in retired U.S. Army Brigadier General John Bolduc, who served, as I said, 10 tours in Afghanistan. He ran for Senate in the state of New Hampshire 2 years ago as a Republican general. Very good to have you here. Thank you very much for joining us today. Obviously, there's so much heartbreak around this story. All of these families who lost these young service members, many of whom had never been in combat before they were sent in to protect this area, and the loss is enormous for them. What are you hearing as someone who is so familiar with these generals, with the situation? What are you hearing in what they're saying today?
Well, the biggest thing I'm hearing is that, and this is a newsflash for the American people, it was a strategic failure before this exit. I don't even want to call it a military withdrawal because that would be giving it some sort of military operation connotation, but it was absolutely, has been a failure, except for the years of 2010 to 2013, in the beginning of 2014, we lost this war. And that's what Americans need to know. Now, what I'm hearing from these generals is, and I thank them for, recognizing the service members and the sacrifices of everybody, because that's what we need to do. But they're not taking accountability and responsibility for their own actions in this. They're pointing fingers at the State Department. This was a State Department, Department of Defense, National Security Council failure. It was a Biden administration failure. It was the failure over 4 different administrations. I was involved in Afghanistan from 2001 to 2013. As a matter of fact, it's easier to say I wasn't in Afghanistan from 2003 to 4, and I wasn't in Afghanistan from a small period between 2007 and 2008. Every time up to that point, I worked for all of these guys. They made bad decisions at every single level, which led to the debacle of a exit that we see today, leaving millions of people in peril.
General, I want to play something. This is President Biden speaking with George Stephanopoulos on August 19th, 2021, about the issue of keeping troops in place in order to prevent this chaos. Watch this.
Your military advisor did not tell you, no, we should just keep 2,500 troops. It's been a stable situation for the last several years. We can do that. We can continue to do that.
No, no one said that to me that I can recall.
Is he telling the truth?
I don't know if he's telling the truth. I know that the magic number of 2,500 was also the number given when we withdrew from Iraq under the Obama administration, which was a blueprint for this exit, and both were a disaster, as we found out as time went on. So I'm not surprised that 2,500 may have been the number. That's kind of the number that they go with when they're looking at top-down counterterrorism operations. But still, it's a bad strategy. It's a strategy with no exit, no strategic victory. And that is the problem. And that's the failure of these gentlemen and the rest of the National Security Council staff and apparatus in America.
Well, we know that, and I have to leave it there, General. I really want to thank you for being here. And we know that Sergeant Tyler Vargas Andrews tried to alert people terrorists in the crowd outside of the abbey. He claims that no one listened to him. Even after he was wounded in that attack, nobody asked him for his after-action report. And there are just so many tragedies around this situation, and our heart breaks for the families who are involved in all of this. Thank you, General Mulder. Always good to see you.
Welcome. God bless you. Thank you. God bless you.
Well, thank you very much. So also breaking just moments ago, the Supreme Court will allow Texas to enforce their new immigration law. SB 4 is what it is called, at least for now. The Justice Department challenging the measure that lets the state arrest people who are suspected of crossing their border illegally. Correspondent Nate Boyd live at the border at Eagle Pass, Texas. Hi, Nate.
Hey, Martha, yeah, this is a game changer. This Supreme Court ruling within the past hour allows Texas to implement SB 4, which allows them to possibly deport migrants who cross the border illegally without turning them over to Border Patrol. So essentially how it would work is they would have to see a migrant crossing illegally, and then they could just charge that migrant with criminal trespassing, take him to a judge who then would give the migrant the option to go back to Mexico or go through the court process and be charged with that crime, rather than how it works right now, where the migrants go to Border Patrol to be processed and ultimately very often released into the country. I was speaking to a source.
Excellent. We'll see you guys next time. All right, peace.
At this ruling, this is believed to be a strong deterrent. This will make quite a big difference. Governor Greg Abbott on